What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Extraordinary episode number 19, brought to you by the Antisocial Network. Today, we got a super awesome, really cool bearded brother guest.
What up?
We got Charles Syers from Neenah, Wisconsin. How you doing, buddy?
Good, Sean. Good, Sean. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Yes, and I'm going to tell you straight up when our mutual friend Rusty had linked us up, and I looked at your profile picture, my very first thought was the beard. And I looked at it. I'm like, son of a bitch, it's longer than mine. And like that doesn't have like I don't run into very many people that I'm like, their beard is better than mine. But well done, sir. Well done.
Thank you. That's the same thing, man. And then like I'll go out and like walk around and I'll see an old ass man with just a knee dangler, and I'm like,
soon, man. Not too soon. I don't want to be there yet, but I can. Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
I don't want to be gray at this point in life, but it's definitely creeping in there.
Oh yeah. If the sun hits the video camera just right, I look like a fucking Barbie character. I fucking glitter between the salt and pepper back here.
Dude, when the sun hits me just right, I get red. I look like Gimli from Lord of the Rings.
That's so funny. Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that too, because like many moons ago, I was working for Certapro Painters. Marvin Windows had a bonding agent in their paint fail from like 2003 to 2007. So a lot of these people started to find out around like 2014 to 2015, just before the 10-year warranty gap was like up, or 2012 and 2016, I think it was. But anywho, so you had two choices. You could either get all new windows for free, but you had to pay for the new windows to be installed, or for free, you would have a crew come out to your house and take all your windows out. We would scrape your frames on your house, paper the shit off, paint it, and then be on our way. So that's what we did for a while there. And I was in Hull, Massachusetts, which has a fantastic little Blue Crab sub shop. I wish I remembered the name of it, but I stopped there every day for lunch. It was like 7 straight days we were on this crazy island. I did find one thing in my life I'd rather not talk about, was House 2 on Hull, Massachusetts. And maybe off camera, I'll talk to you about that. But House 1 was fantastic. And this gentleman that came out of the house every day was riding his bike, an older gentleman. And man, he had probably a nice 3.5 foot just creature from his face. And I just looked at him. I'm like, man, I'm so jealous. Because I was growing, not this, but something compared to it at the time.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, I'm like, I have a forgettable face, but you'll never forget the beard.
Yeah. I've let that get to my head too, man. At times someone's like, who are you again? And I'm like, really, dude? Really? How many fucking people you come across that look like this, man? Come on. I see the game you're playing, but I'm not taking the piece of bubble gum here, my friend.
We're not taking the bait here. No.
Nice try.
But anyways, Charles, would you like to do a formal introduction of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Charles, at the Syers, actually. And it's funny, the way you pronounced it at the beginning. Don't feel bad. That is the legitimate way it's been pronounced my entire life, unless you're part of the Syers family, and then we'll tell you it's Syers, not Sears. But in middle age, that used to really upset me. I don't know why. Name things, young children and whatnot. But otherwise, I was in the Army infantry. I joined right out of high school. I was in Mrs. Miller's English class, second row, first chair, not because I loved learning. I was a class clown. But that's when 9/11 occurred. I remember watching the second plane hit the tower. Closed my eyes. I can still see it today. That day, I joined the military. So I sent a few emails out, actually. I still remember the Navy was my first choice, which was weird because I wanted to go to the desert. So I'm not sure how that really was going to work out. But I'm glad they sent me an email back, because by the time I was 16, about 3 years, I started sending out emails to recruiters. I was like, yo, what's up? And they were like, "You're too young, but thank you for your interest. Come back at 18." And the Army was like, "Check out our future soldier program." And I was like, "Boo, boo, 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 boo." So I joined the fucking future soldier program. At first, I was National Guard. Then my brother-in-law came in and was like, "You're a bitch." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And I joined the real Army. So there's a little bit more to that conversation, but that basically covers it. Yeah, and I walked right into the recruiter's office, and verbatim, Sergeant Olson was sitting right here. He'd tell you, hand to God, I was like, "Yo, I watched 9/11 happen, and I want to get mine. And one way or another, I'm gonna. So I'd rather not go to jail for it." And he's like, "Sounds like the infantry." And I'm like, "Sounds like that's where I need to be." So I hit that ASVAB at like a 93%. Didn't matter. I got a lot of help. Turns out there's only certain things graded via the ASVAB.
Yeah.
And if you happen to know what color your book is, you could do that ASVAB pretty quickly. So I think I did the whole 3-hour, 43-minute test in about 47 minutes with A, B, C, D, C, B, A in the sections that didn't need to be done because it didn't fucking matter. And walked out of there and joined the infantry. It was fucking crazy. Loved it, man. Got stationed up at Fort Wainwright, Alaska. Actually, a mutual friend of ours again, which is just a crazy tiny world we live in.
Yeah.
But Mr. Stewart, loved that son of a bitch. Me 10 years ago, different story, deservedly so. But then got out of the Army. Fuck, man, lost myself hard. Between PTSD, drugs, gambling, I'd like to say the last 10 years were a blur, but they're not. I remember every fucking moment of it and every minute and every scenario, except about 4 random times where I was super fucked up. And I mean, like, the world shut down, and I still managed to end up an hour and a half away of where we shut down at, in the middle of fucking nowhere, stoking some person's fucking fire at a camp with just 20 other people and a dog. And I'm like, "Hey, dog, let's chill while I send a Google Loc to my friend to come fucking pick me up because I'm fucked." So that's the Scottish in me, though.
Yeah.
So I hail from the Corlett family from the Isle of Man. I try to tell people all the time, I'm like, get it, I'm Scottish. I will drink you under the table. I don't want to. I don't want to. And then pride comes in, and it's like fucking Peter Griffin and his dad all over again.
Yeah.
So from there, I after the Army, the drugs, rock and roll lifestyle hit me hard. Learned a lot of lessons. A lot of lessons. And I've got an addictive mindset. Early on, I knew that I easily get addicted to things. It's fucking boop. What's that? Shiny object? Mine. Now it's my shiny object. Another one? I'll eat them all.
Yeah.
In order to combat one addiction, I had to find another addiction. And it's the only way that I can survive. And today I'm alive because of my wife. But my wife is my family is my new addiction. And that actually took me off a pretty crazy drug. So that I was spiraling down with. It took a lot to find myself, a lot of self-talking, which probably is the reason why it took so long. Today, I now know reaching out is the answer. It has been, it always will be, and no matter what I think, it never is what it is. And something to kind of put a key onto that real quick. I don't mean to keep jabbering on about who I am.
You're good. You're good.
I hid from my Army family for a really long time because of who I created in my mind as a perception of who I thought they were seeing.
Yeah.
And every single person that has come back into my life, and I love the fucking Army so much, man, and the people in it, and the people that have been close to me continue to surprise me every day. And every single one of them has a fucking story that makes me laugh about how they remember me. And not a fucking one of it was the perceptive vision that I had created. And it just felt so good to just be like, "Yo, man, you're not a piece of shit. Shut up."
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a long battle, man, but that's a little bit about who I am.
Yeah, that perception that we have of ourselves is like one of the hardest things to negate, right? Because we're our biggest critic,
Yeah.
completely biggest critic. And I know I struggled with that for a while, especially like, doing the recovery thing and making amends to people, right? Like I would go to these people and I would be so timid and I would be like, I'm sorry, I'm a piece of shit. And they were like, what are you talking about? And I would go to explain how I felt like I wronged them. And they were like, that was just a Tuesday. And I'm like, well, fuck. Okay.
Fuck,
Well,
man. Yeah, because that
I
was
dug
like
deeper
3
into
years
that.
of my life, but it was just a Tuesday to you. I should have talked to you sooner. Yeah.
Right, right. And so the negative perception that we have of ourselves can really push us down that nasty rabbit hole.
Right. I think Jet Li said it, you don't talk bad about yourself, even joking. And I think arguably that's where it started for me. It really did. Like, just you fucking idiot, dude. You know better. Like, nobody talks harder to me than I talk to me.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what that was doing. The energy that I was surrounding myself in, it created the environment I was speaking out loud, and that's who I became.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's not who I am, and it took just as long saying the same thing but different out loud to combat that. You're not a piece of shit, dude. Look in the mirror. Man, you got a beautiful beard. Just say some really creepy shit. Get yourself out of the bathroom feeling weird,
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
work.
I know one of the things I had to struggle through with that negative mindset was coming to terms that I'm not perfect, right? Like I'm allowed to fuck up, but as long as I learn from my mistake, like I'll be able to push forward and fix it, right? Because I used to just degrade myself all the time because I'd make a small little fucking mistake.
Yeah.
Right. And just rip myself to shreds. But at the end of the day, like what am I really doing to myself? I'm pushing myself further down that nasty hole.
I turned to Buddhism.
Yeah.
And inside of that, I realized that failure was in fact my greatest teacher. Yeah. And if I wasn't making the same mistake the same way over and over again, but I can continue to make the same mistake differently, and I'm learning. Yeah. So as long as I continue to learn, I'm not failing, I'm learning. Yeah. And that was something huge I had to tell myself. Bro, I'm not failing, I'm learning. Well, I don't have the same burn on my finger over and over and over again. I learned. So it's like, fuck, dude. Yeah. Small victories. I had to really appreciate the small victories. I'm running after a college degree, and day one, I'm feeling like shit because I'm not at the end of the 4 years yet. What the hell? Yeah. Bro, you just started at 30 some years old. Fantastic, dude. Hell yeah. Go beat that curb.
Yeah.
Ni hao. Ni hao ma. Wochen ba. Gurubei. In the last fucking 5 weeks, I've learned a sentence in Chinese Mandarin because they're the number 2 country on our podcast, and I felt like I needed to include them. If you can learn Chinese Mandarin on this shitter, you're probably doing all right.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest languages to speak.
Oh, man. I said, hello, how are you? I am great. Goodbye. Don't ask me for directions in Chinese Mandarin. I'll look at you and smile. I understand the Mexicans now.
Yeah.
Because you sound funny as shit, but yeah.
All right, so we're going to dive into it, man.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to basic training at?
Fort Benning, Georgia. Yeah, Sand Hill. And man, let me tell you, I miss Hernandez so much. That dude he was so funny. We never really kept in touch afterwards, but that motherfucker, we're in the last little bits of the field problem, and we're running at night. They're doing the simulated mortars, and so we gotta jump off this fucking road, and we're down in the ditch, and I'm pretty sure Futrall was to my right, but Hernandez was to my left, and it may have been Durbin to my right. He was a funny fucker too, but Syers, why do you think I landed in an anthill, man? What? motherfucker, I think I landed in an anthill. Dude, no, you didn't, man. Yeah, they're biting me all over. He just gets up screaming. We all got to take our water bottles and drown this motherfucker. Oh, man, I knew I was in the right place there. It definitely wasn't when we were swinging from vines trying to get away from the boars because we went too far left instead of going right. And one of us fucked our ankle up and didn't want to get recycled.
Jesus. Holy shit. God.
Yeah. Fort Benning, Georgia, man. Love that fucking place. Man,
It's one of the more beautiful places I've been, like one of the more beautiful bases I've been to.
Yeah. Yeah, Foxtrot 258.
Nice.
We were an experimental company, so we were out in the trailers. While everyone else was in them sweet fucking bunks, and yeah, we had the trailer bunks. But man, I tell you what, we fucking won everything. I think the only thing we didn't win, the only tassel we did not have on our flag, was the like fucking little shit with the gun or whatever the fuck that shit is. And that's because the team that won it, their drill sergeant literally just came from the fucking old guard. So I'm like, if you don't win that one, what was he even doing there? And how did he get that far up the ladder to get here?
Right.
So we expected to lose that one.
Yeah. If you're not, the DNC one?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah. If you're not winning DNC and you came from old guard, like you deserve to be kicked out of the Army.
But it was, I did get to see Bombshell and fuck, what's his name there? I think Trace Adkins. Nice. I want to say Trace Adkins, or no, Montgomery Gentry. Sorry, Montgomery Gentry. They came and did a concert for us. Mm-hmm. And this is also like, I already kind of knew I was in the right spot because of the PT. I'll double back to that here in a second. But like what solidified it to me was we get to this concert and the drill sergeants were super nice and they let us swing by the ATM machine before. So they like marched us by the ATM machine, which was conveniently placed in between us and the fucking concert. And we got to the concert. We couldn't buy any like shirts or shit, but we could get all the fucking snacks we wanted, man. So we got ice cream cake. We had fucking soda. We were all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Let me tell you. And then like the concert ended and the walk back was like 15 miles longer and with way more exercises than the walk there. Yep. And like whatever we did have in our bellies at that point wasn't there anymore when we got back. It wasn't as cool as you thought. I mean, there was a few people there who knew. Yeah. And like they didn't get anything, and they tried to say stuff, and we're like, dude, shut the fuck up, bitch, pussy ass. We're ice cream sandwiches, man. Yeah,
they knew.
They laughed afterwards. It was chill.
So what was the most challenging part for basic for you?
Leadership.
Yeah,
it wasn't the people, I mean, my physical fitness was shit when I first got there, but it grew huge. I mean, I ran my mile in like 9 minutes. I think I did like 30 fucking push-ups. No, 15 push-ups and like 30 sit-ups, dude. And by the time I left basic training, I was running my 2 mile in sub 13. I was doing over 90 push-ups and like almost 110 sit-ups. Nice. It just like the lifestyle fucking blew. And that was like in PT also. On the bus, somebody told me that I wanted to be in C group. Like I need to be in the gray area. Don't fall behind or shine because they see you, right? So I'm just comfortably running in C group and drill sergeant by you. I'll never forget it. He starts sneaking back and looks at me and looks at my fucking looks me up and down. What the fuck are you doing back here, Syers? What, drill sergeant? He goes, what the fuck are you doing back here? You're sandbagging? I'm like, this is exactly what they said not to do, and I'm fucking doing it, and I tried not to do it. He goes, now get to A, and you better lead this motherfucker. And I'm like, bro, I'm a 9-minute mile. You know this. Like, I belong in C. I just look like I belong in A. I'm from the UP. Cut me some slack, Jack. A the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So that running was easy. It's a mindset thing. If you can think about anything other than running, you could run forever.
Yeah.
Don't believe me. Go out there and fucking try it. Think about anything other than running or how tired you are.
Yeah.
right? And you can run forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was the leadership thing. Actually, it was looking at an incompetent leader and having to listen to them.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part about the military. But it's like, it's where if you don't like it, shut the fuck up and gain rank and fix it. Like,
Yeah.
just changed my life, right? Because it's like, listen, we're doing just fine with this retard at the helm,
Yeah.
and we're just quietly doing what we have to make sure the retard doesn't know he's a retard.
Yeah.
And forgive me for that, like, harsh, specific undertone language, but I don't look at special needs people
Yeah.
as like lower citizens. I actually look at them as above and beyond the things that they do. So that term and me get into a lot of trouble often because I don't use it to describe specific
Yeah.
people, and other people sometimes hear it and then think about those specific people. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you're a fucking asshole. That's not my fault.
Yeah.
Don't blame me because I made you think how you feel. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
But anywho, so I've just kind of taken that into the civilian life, and it doesn't work out so well in the civilian life. Oh my God. Oh, those first few years before I was medically retired, I'm like, I'm just not sure how I'm going to do this. I know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to go build a tin cabin in the woods because fuck everyone.
Right.
This isn't right, you know?
Yeah.
So many power hungry people, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, you're at a fucking gas station, or you're a fucking sandwich artist. What the fuck? I don't care if your name tag says manager, motherfucker. The only thing you manage is D's nuts. I'm sorry. And the fact that I'm calling you a sandwich artist is because I used to work at Subway. Otherwise, you're just a fucking sandwich maker.
Yeah, that's the leadership is one of the biggest struggles that I face too, man. And you hit it nail on the head. You know, the fact that you have incompetent leaders in charge and they have no common sense, or they just either they have a ton of common sense, or they're the leaders that got ahead because they went to the right schools, not because they're good fucking leaders.
Or S shopped their sack to the top. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I had a team chief in my not my branch, but in artillery. They were chiefs, and so I had this chief that dude went to BLC, ALC. He went to jump master school. He went to master fitness, but he didn't know his goddamn job to save his life.
Yeah.
And he got promoted because he could push people out of an airplane. And I was like, well, that's bullshit, right? Like, you need to be able to survive in combat. You need to know how to lead guys in the proper format of a call for fire. But you can't. But you can push people out of airplanes. Yeah, that's really fucking great.
Yeah, we had one of those too, man. We lost. So this is how I describe it. And again, feelings out there are feelings. The guy we lost, and by lost, he just went on to a different command. We didn't actually lose him.
Yeah.
I love him to death.
Yeah.
He'd come up to us and go, "We're all gonna die. Let's go." And every one of us would just get up and go.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna die comfortably with him. We know it. The other motherfucker, we wouldn't follow into an IHOP on Free Pancake Tuesdays.
I can definitely relate to that.
And somehow Free Pancake Tuesday showed up in the middle of combat and got us. So.
Oh no, yeah. There's people like that. I would never I would never give them the time of day to follow them into fucking any form of combat.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's insane. It's crazy. But
they're really good at where they were. I'm sure
Yeah.
that they did really great things where they were, but eventually they piss somebody off there that's higher up than them, and they send them off to fuck off us.
Yeah.
That pisses me off.
Yeah, it blows my mind. So you get to Fort Wainwright. What happens that leads to your medical separation?
Oh, yeah. So that's a wild story. I don't actually get fully medically retired until a few years after I'm out due to the medical process and information not being passed down.
Mm-hmm.
So I was being med boarded out just before my ETS.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ETS? Yeah. But anywho, so it was like inside 90 days of me getting out,
Mm-hmm.
but my med board was projected to take 6 months. And because I was inside 90 days of getting out, I couldn't actually go and renew my security pass.
Mm-hmm.
So I was then just super fast ETS'd out inside, like, I think it was 48 days. I think I was fucking start to finish out of the Army in 48 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And then sent home to then continue the med board process. Well, once I got to the civilian world, there was no continuation to the med board process. I actually just had to start the fucker over again. So that it ended up taking like 5 years. But what ultimately led to my, I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't want to say it kind of worked out, but my PTSD didn't even really show itself until a couple years out. And I realized I was like, man, I'm so fucking angry all the time. Like I'm so irritated and angry all the fucking time, and I'm not sleeping, and just the tiniest thing. Like I would sit there talking with somebody and the entire time be looking at how I'm going to fucking kill them if they move the wrong way. Yep. Right. And I'm like, this ain't right. So I went and ended up talking with 6 different Vietnam era therapists. I told them all the same thing. I was like, listen, you guys want to put me on all these fucking pills, and medical cannabis fucking works. I said, if I'm angry, I smoke. If I can't eat, I smoke. If I can't go to sleep, I smoke, and I'm fine. And every one of them was like, listen, if it works, it works. And 2011 from the Army to PTSD / use of marijuana.
Yeah.
So I've had a federal medical marijuana card since 2011.
Wow.
It's just easier to get weed now that it's legal.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
But so ultimately, I mean, I guess just in no other words, I mean, my brain broke. The stress of not knowing what to do now that I was home, added with the stress of, I guess, being in the sand. The med board itself was for knees, back, and this crazy fucking rash that just fucking grows on my body that has now also led to me getting shingles at like, I think 31. It's not on my eyes, dick, or asshole. So I got the good shingles, bitches.
I can relate to the envisioning hurting somebody, dude. Like that was one of the scariest things that I've had to face, like getting out, was sitting in front of somebody and they pissed me off, and I could see in vivid description how I wanted to fucking do it. And just having that self-awareness of like, okay, this is real. And like, I never thought that was possible. I thought that people just said that to say it, right? Or said that because like I'm really down there, right? Like we're talking on the level of like serial killers and psychopaths. Like,
yes.
And then and that happened to me, dude. I was sitting in court. I got evicted from my home because the VA wasn't paying me and I didn't have a fucking job.
Yeah.
And my landlord was sitting right there, and all I could see myself doing was taking this fucking axe and putting it right here. Yeah. And it scared the dog shit out of me. And I was like, dude, I got to go talk to somebody about this, because that's not normal.
No, I could even tell you the blood pattern that would come off on the wall if it needed. Yeah. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, I got to go get some help. So I did. I just, and that took a minute. But the best thing for me, though, was, I found the right therapist. Yeah. And it was sweet. Just a peach. She was fantastic. I would go in there for about 15 minutes. I'd make sure to schedule my appointment at 11 o'clock because I only need to talk for about 10, 15 minutes. I don't need to listen to you tell me what you think about what the fuck I'm telling you. I think about it all the time. I've already thought what you said twice and in probably 2 different languages. Yeah. So just let me be. So I come in, I vent for 15 minutes. I thank you. I ask you if you're doing okay. And then I give you an extra 45 minutes to do whatever the fuck you need before lunch. and it worked out really, 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 really well. But inside of that, there was lots of obstacles, but most of those obstacles were created in my own mind. I wasn't finding the right therapist. Oh, that's not for me then. No, man. How many times you go fishing and don't catch anything, but you still put a bait on that line and you still go out there and cast that effing line? So why can't you do that with a therapist?
Yeah.
How many times do you play that video game the same damn way over and over and over again? Why can't you do that when you're looking for this? So those thought processes started to allow me to center myself, and then finding some type of faith. In the beginning, it was just faith in myself, man. It was like I had to relive my past, but I had to get through all the bullshit I created to find the monster I used to be.
Yeah.
To remind myself that, hey, this life's fucking easy, man.
Yeah.
You just gotta smile and wave, man. You just gotta smile and wave.
Yeah. So oftentimes, like, and I was talking to my girlfriend about this last night, how when we leave service, we hit this identity crisis.
Yeah.
Right. I call it an identity crisis because you're
Yeah.
going from having purpose, you're going from having a mission to, leading guys or being led yourself to nothing.
Yeah.
Is that something that you faced?
No, absolutely, 100%. And the pride in me wouldn't allow it to be named identity crisis, but absolutely that was the label, because it was just I had no purpose anymore. I had done so many great fucking things, and now I'm 22, sitting in a 6x8 fucking bunker, smoking myself to death with a 65-inch television screen, watching Iron Man on repeat because that's who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was tough, man. That was the hardest thing, but my purpose is to continue forward. It's what I ultimately had to tell myself, is that it's just to not be a statistic.
Yeah.
Like, that's my ultimate goal now, right? Like, fuck you and your statistics, right? Yeah, I am retired from PTSD, but that doesn't mean I can't come back.
Yeah.
It just means you better be prepared for when I come back.
Yeah.
I got a whole backpack full of shit I didn't even think about yet. Yeah. I'm going to throw it on the table, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was not, not finding a purpose worth what I once was. Because I could come up with a million things. Go be a Walmart greeter, make people smile. That's not good enough. Smiles save lives.
Yeah.
Smiles are the most expensive thing you can give.
Yeah.
What's the cost of a life? What do you price out on a life? Because a smile saves a life. That dollar bill don't save a fucking life, but a smile does, right? So maybe being a Walmart greeter is fucking awesome, because there's that story of the dude on the bridge who lived above it, right? And the bridge is known as Suicide Bridge. Yeah. So this dude retired from life and was like, fuck it, and goes and sits down at that bridge. And whenever anybody walks up, he smiles and says, hey, how are you? And talks to him. And the suicide rate at that bridge is down like 90%.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty fucking fantastic story. And I feel like a douchebag for not having it on foot, but it's well worth looking up. Look up smiling man at bridge saves lives. I promise you that Google alone will take you to the story that I'm talking about.
Wow.
But, so I had to realize that I was being judgmental, and I was being super judgmental to myself. And actually following in the Buddhist way allowed me to ask myself, when did I become God?
Yeah.
Because that's what I was doing. Ultimately, I was judging everything as if I was above it all. Yeah. And I just, didn't really work. No. I ended up finding drugs, speed. I did a lot of speed and gambled a lot until the old wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I got out, I turned to weed, right? And like you were talking about earlier, you were like, oh, I have an addictive personality, and I do too. I have a heavy addictive personality. And so I was sober at the time. I wasn't drinking, but I was smoking. I was getting fucked up almost every day. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, I can drink because the circumstances, right? Like, I'm in a different relationship. I'm no longer in the army and I'm not angry, but I was angry. I just refused to fucking believe it.
Yeah.
Um, and then it just took me down this dark path until it led me to where I am today. And I that identity crisis getting out is what really fucked me up, right? Because like
Yeah.
I went from because of the injuries, I was a training room NCO, so I went from being a training room NCO, being in charge of 10 dudes, where I sent trackers out and like took care of my mental health, to nothing at all,
Yeah.
fucking nothing. And I perceived myself as this lazy fucking bum who would sit on the couch, play Xbox, while his girlfriend, fiance, soon to be wife goes out and works. She comes home, and I can't provide anything because I just got medically separated from the army, and I don't even have a VA rating, and nobody's going to accept me because everybody's patriotic until it comes time to hire veterans.
Yeah, I know. Or give us a
You know?
discount.
Yeah, yeah. But like, and that was like what I was facing, dude. And I ended up getting this job at an air cargo company over by the airport in Anchorage, and I found out later on, and it made me feel really shitty, kind of, that the only reason that they hired me was because I made them laugh. Like, that's it. In my
Yeah.
interview, I made them laugh. Like, I was the funny guy, and I was like, "Do you take me as a fucking joke?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Subway hired me because I was an out of work veteran for 6 months and I was a tax break. Fucking owner straight up told me, dude. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I ate more than my fair share of my free lunch sub, motherfucker. Just so
Right.
you know. I ate a fuckload of that fake ass crab too. Eat that fucking tax break, bitch.
Right? I ate some of your government cheese, motherfucker.
It's funny you mentioned. That's why I ultimately got fired, dude, or quit. One of the two.
Wow.
They came down and tried to tell me something about portioning fucking cheese cups, and I said, "You guys are all on fucking crack." They said, "There ain't no way I'm giving you a fucking portioned out shredded cheese cup for a 6-inch." I said, "I'll put 3 on a 6 and 6 on a 12." They wanted 1 on a 6 and 2 on a 12. I say, "You fucking crazy? I love cheese, man."
Right.
Look, I live in
Everybody loves
Wisconsin
cheese.
now. I fucking love cheese. Are you kidding me? If your restaurant don't have cheese curds on the appetizers, we don't go.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. So you break away from all of that and you start you join a podcast. You're a co-host of a podcast.
Yeah.
Tell
And
me
it's
about
been
that.
just fucking awesome, man. Boys in the Woods podcast. We're everywhere. If you listen to something, we're fucking on there. I'm maybe not iHeartRadio yet. But yeah, we're a sports and leisure podcast. We break down sports like armchair CEOs. We're some of the best armchair CEOs around. It's just been a crazy journey. Our first guest was Jim Brandstetter, the voice of Michigan football, and for fucking ever, still the voice of Michigan football. He was the voice of the Lions for 30 some years. Yeah, talking to him was crazy. Hearing him talk about his wife was probably the coolest thing about all of this so far. I mean, that the love they have and the respect he showed her. I mean, you listen to today's media and you look at Jim and you're like, no, you're not supposed to be like that. You're old and white.
Not supposed to act like that.
Not supposed to act like that. But anyways, yeah. So, I mean, it's been I try to do things differently. Right. And it started off really, really small. I was a juicy fruit guy. Now I'm a double mint guy. Right. And from there, the world became my oyster. I'm telling you, if you're a juicy fruit, switch to double, bubble, whatever you got to do. Hubba bubba. Hubba bubba. Yeah. But
Hubba bubba.
A good friend of mine, Patrick, yada, 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 shoots me a message one day. Hey, man, you want to be on a podcast? So I was like, yeah, sure. What time? He's like, this time. And so I joined back, I went on the podcast. He goes, hey man, you want to do that again? I'm like, hey man, yeah, let's do this. So, and I think we just did episode 44.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's like, I think we're almost to 60 episodes, but the first few episodes, at one point I was still using like these microphones, the Apple Podcast. And between the beard and the wind, like, I thank you to all the listeners who stuck by. Yeah, so the
Right.
podcast has been fantastic. We just got hooked up with our international press pass, international associated press passes. Have no idea what the fuck that's going to do for us, but we'll figure that out as we
All
go.
right.
So right now, our plans for the future are we will be tailgating and giving away merchandise and chit-chatting with the locals at Lambeau Field. That's right, Lambeau Field. For all you Johnsonville
Nice.
Brats fans out there, Lambeau Field, or Green Bay Packer fans, either one. So we'll be tailgating there. Yeah, we plan on hitting, weather depending, but this is Wisconsin and it's Green Bay. We will be there for all the home games, including playoffs, because we've done it again. We walked into the promised land and walked out with another Messiah. His name is Jordan Love. So
That's pretty awesome, man. That's cool. You know, I kind of have a story like that, like how I started mine
yeah,
last year. I was on TikTok and I was on live, and I used to cook dinner for my family back when I had a family. And I mean, I still do, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
different family. But this guy jumps on. He's like, "You got a marvelous beard. Do you want to be a, you want to be a brand ambassador?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So him and I started talking. We became friends, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to be a guest on my podcast?" I was like, "Sure." What are we talking about? He's like spirituality and about paranormal stuff. I was like, "Dude, yeah, I'm for it. Let's go.
Sign me up.
Sign me up." And then so I went and did that. And then after we were done, like him and I hung around, the studio for another 45 minutes to an hour. And he was like, "Hey, did you, were you thinking about starting a show?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I could." He's like, "Do
Yeah.
you have a premise?" And I was like, "Yeah." "Do you have a topic?" "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, well, start a show." And I was like, "Well, I don't know." Like I was making excuses. I was like, "I
Yeah.
don't fucking know. You know, I I just don't have the equipment." He's like, "You got a microphone?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." And he's like, "There's your microphone. Do you got headphones?" I was like, "For my Xbox." He's like, "You can use those." I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Well, I just don't know the software to use." And he was like, "Here's a list. Pick one." So if you're watching this, Jukebox Ginger, thank you for getting me started on this journey that I'm on. Anyways, um, there's a statistic that like 90% of podcasts don't last 20 episodes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Fucking insane.
It's, I think it's because everyone thinks they're going to be getting fucking Joe Rogan money after episode 10.
Yeah.
They dropped out like one banger.
Yeah.
It peaked
Yeah.
out at 570 listeners in 2
Yeah.
days. Like, this is it. And then that fucking dopamine is gone from the Facebook likes they've created. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Pat and I, we've absolutely, we've dropped out a handful of bangers, right?
Yeah.
But with them bangers, there's way more sand in that jar than there are fucking rocks. Okay, guess
Oh
what? I
yeah.
could pour water in that bitch too, and it ain't full yet.
Yeah. And on top of that, like interview or like podcast styles like I do here and like so many
Yeah.
others do, the issue comes along with, the guest sharing, the podcast. Like I don't enforce that. Like if you want to share it, go ahead, share it. I
Right.
don't fucking care.
Yeah.
That's on you. That's on you.
Yeah.
This is your story, right?
Yeah.
And
I
I
didn't even
don't.
realize that. Yeah. Yeah. That's why guests are always, yeah, yeah. Oh, and we'll share this on our platform. All right, cool. Yeah, thanks. Like,
Yeah.
we're just here to talk, man. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to make money off this, then yeah, you should share it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to help me get my name out there, sure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that goes for like bigger guests too.
yeah,
Some of my biggest episodes are people that have a massive following, right?
yep,
And like I look on YouTube and some of my numbers are in the triple digits, and I'm like, that's awesome.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's never gonna fucking happen again,
Yeah, we
And
look at it
but
very realistically too.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And so like, this show, I'm only on episode number 19. But this has been in existence as long as my other show has, and I
Yeah,
just recorded episode 84. And like it's just amazing. It's a beautiful thing. I
yeah.
really, really enjoy doing this, and I'm sure you do too.
Oh man, well, you could ask really anyone who knows me. I love talking.
Yeah.
So any time that I get a microphone and I get to drop some rich mahogany comments every once in a while,
My apartment smells of
the
rich
ever
mahogany.
famous, I'm just not sure what to do with my hands. I've done the best part about right. I've done this, and I've tried to make the joke, and I've had people go, "Oh no, honey, you could just put them down." And I'm like,
No
"Oh my
way.
god, am I that old? There's no fucking way I'm that old." Right? Yeah. That
They
was
didn't
one
get
of
the
the best parts
reference.
about dating my wife in the beginning. She's 27, right? And I'm 35. We've been together for a couple of years now. So in the very beginning, I was dropping all these 90s one-liners, and her and all of the group of friends almost knocked my cheese head down. Holy shit. Would just lose their shit like I'm the funniest fucker in the world. And I'm like, oh my God, this is where I belong.
I'm the most famous person in this room.
Yeah. So when other people were telling me funny, I was like, listen, no, you don't get it. I'm just using other lines. But here recently, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of funny, but yeah, it was a blast, man.
The
I
car
loved
moved
it.
real nice.
Yeah.
It's like a spaceship.
I know, dude. I love it, man. I love it. Although I think one of my favorite things now to do, though, is to drop a random one-liner that should be known, but isn't like fucking Barbie known, right? And
Yeah.
seeing who catches it in the room and who doesn't, and then trying to be friends with the person who catches it. That's my new fucking resume, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't just walk into a room anymore and go, yo, what up? I got a beard. People immediately flock to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to be careful with this.
We got to be choosy.
Yeah.
We got very choosy.
Yeah, and we're bald, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
like, bro, it's basically a secret club, and people are just pissed they didn't get the invitation.
The Bald Beard Man Club.
Yeah, BBBs.
Oh, Jesus. I like to drop weird one-liners that may be really obscure in some movies, like movies like you and I like, right?
Yeah.
So my girlfriend would be like, "Oh, do you want to go to like the Lord's Chicken, Chick-fil-A?" I'd
Yeah.
be like, "Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot." Right? And she's like, "What was that?" And I'm like, "It was Borat." Okay, leave me alone.
Oh my God, it is, yeah, dude. It's just too much.
or like we'll like things will start to get to a rocky point, like a conversation. I'll be like, "Give me your tears, Gypsy, or I'll take them from you." She's like, what?
Why are you even talking like this?
What?
Oh
What
yeah, no, I mean, I grew up, man, just watching movies, and then over in Iraq, if you weren't messing around in the sand, you were sitting in your waterproof bunk, drowning in your own sweat, watching fucking movies.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
we had AC every once in a while.
I've seen so many bootleg versions of movies in Afghanistan. It's ridiculous.
Dude, I still think my favorite was like the non-completed CGI Wolverine.
Oh, I see that. Look, I was just gonna bring that up.
That was so funny. I mean,
Where you can see the buildings start to fall and it green screen.
yeah. Oh my God.
Jesus.
Yep. Oh yeah. Or yeah, just the entire thing going, and then all of a sudden, like it's just
Yeah.
him on it. My favorite was he was on the bike. You fucking coming out of the farmhouse, and then all of a sudden, like on the road, and then just boom, green screen for a minute, and then boom, back to him, and I'm like, they must have just forgot that part.
And then you watch the actual version, you're like, this is the greatest movie ever made.
And oh, I see what they were getting at now.
This makes so much sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That 70s show, hell yeah, fuck. I think I bought that twice for $5. I think I spent $10 on the seasons, all seasons twice.
I've seen every episode of Heroes.
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah. Oh my
It's
God,
insane.
yeah. If the season had more than 7 seasons, if the show had more than 7 seasons, I've watched it. If it was from 1985 to 2005, if it had more than 7 seasons, I've watched it.
That's awesome. All right, brother man. So before we get going,
Yeah.
where can we find you?
So you can find us everywhere: YouTube, Spotify, at Boys in the Woods 906. Any variation of that. I think the YouTube is at boys_woods. You find me on Twitter at Prof P, PROFPEA 2020. Yeah, that was a weird time. But you can also find the Boys in the Woods at Boys in the Woods 906. We are absolutely everywhere. Now, on Apple, apparently there was another Boys in the Woods. Okay, so we started ours January, February, March, April. Who fucking knows? Like after February.
Yeah.
But not before May. But anywho, their last episode came out in February. Now, when Pat asked me to join the podcast with him, he had everything already set up. He had the name, the logo. I literally just came in and was like, "Here's my microphone, matey," and that's all that happened.
I'm here for the party.
yeah, absolutely. So, and he was telling me about it, but they weren't active. So when you search Boys in the Woods podcast at time to time, depending on who we've pissed off, because we are kind of edgy and we're not monetized, so we're not beholden to any fucking stockholder, we'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Google loves us, though. Google's AI loves us. But anywho, you might run into those. But the logo that you're looking for specifically is, Snapchat filter, my bad, is that black and red big dog back there, the Boys in the Woods podcast. Absolutely. Nice. But you can find us everywhere that you get your podcast, new things, subscribing every day, and millions.co. We do watch parties on millions.co. We've got a merch line, not hats, but shirts, hoodies, shit like that on millions.co. So it's however you spell the word millions.co.
One of a million different ways to spell
There's a million different ways to spell millions.
Million gigawatts.
Marty.
All righty, y'all. I want to take a moment and say thank you, Charles, for hanging out with me and sharing some of your story and making me laugh, dude. I needed it today.
Hey man, thanks for having me on. This is fantastic, and I feel like I've created another brotherhood bond, and I'm very grateful for it. I can't wait to keep up with you in the future, my friend.
Absolutely, with the triple B's.
Triple B's.
All righty, everybody. Until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. Much love. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which is a lot. Bye.